In this festive episode, it's time to break out the mince pies and start drawing up those lists as we pick our favourite indie titles from the last 12 months. We see which turkey is well and truly plucked as we choose the worst game of 2013. We have a whole heap of prizes to give away, including some cool prints from the girls at Game Tea. And Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without a real treat, so we're bringing you our Game of the Year as well.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Kilobits. As you can probably tell, it is basically Christmas.
It is basically Christmas.
And that means that you have some sort of obligation to buy people things, which means you will be broke, which is Toby's natural state of being.
It is my default state. I mean, I can afford indie games. That's what broke people kind of have to resort to, which was great last year in 2012, the year of the indie. But that's because there was no mainstream to really choose from.
There was nothing else you really could have called it, really.
No.
The mainstream was shit.
I mean, this year, indies still sort of led the charge as far as, like, interactive storytelling and ethical choices have gone. I mean, like, as far as storytelling goes, Gone Home was pretty phenomenal. Lovely to walk forwards and be in Tumblr. Like, the fact that it was getting, like, 9 out of 10 everywhere sort of pissed me off because, as the game says in its own description, there's no puzzles, there's nothing to solve, it's just listen and cry.
So it's like an interactive story.
I mean,
Without the interactive.
I mean, there's been lots of ethical games like that, like Brothers and Papers, Please, which have, like, they've really forced you into, like, emotional situations, which other forms of media can't really do.
Yeah, but for all the like the big innovative titles and things like that, there's been a big resurgence back to sort of traditional gaming mediums, which I really like. Thank you, Toby. I mean, roguelikes have seen a really big comeback. I mean, Rogue Legacy, Legend of Dungeon. And then sort of point-and-click games as well, turn-based RPGs. Shadowrun Returns was like fucking solid. I got so many hours out of that game. The user-generated content is fantastic, actually. It's really good. And even sort of some of the older stuff's getting sort of big updates. I mean, the Terraria 1.2 update.
Oh, Starbound. Bit much.
No, he means the actual update.
No,
We're not Starbound.
No,
of course.
no, the thing is, he's actually right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't just concede to Toby.
Okay.
But he's
Always.
right.
Yeah.
Starbound is just the Terraria update we wanted, rather than 1.2, which just changed the names of things and put some new colour palettes in.
1.2 is not the Terraria update we wanted. It's the one that we needed.
Deserved.
Yeah.
I'm not the Terraria update. I can't actually continue with that.
Starbound is fucking awesome. It's
to hear.
everything that was wrong with Terraria that you didn't even realise was wrong, and it's fantastic. I can't stop
But
playing
then
it.
you have games with like an actual storyline and things that are doing interesting things with storylines. In terms of like Stanley Parable, where you have a gazillion billion endings, you basically have to play it a gazillion billion times to try out every one if you're so inclined. And then stuff where it doesn't really follow the kind of the straight and narrow. It's not Final Fantasy 13. You can branch off and what have you in stuff like Antechamber, which came out at the start of this year.
Oh god, Antechamber is profoundly non-linear. Like, it's like an MC Escher drawing mixed with Portal, mixed with, like, my mind melting.
But the thing is, if you don't want these kind of games, if you want something a bit more kind of sneaky, then Gunpoint came out as well. You're the one where you can like hijack anything. It's basically like a preliminary to Watch Dogs.
It is. It's like Watch Puppies.
It's ridiculously clever, actually. Some of the puzzles in it are really... You can solve them in so many different ways. I've seen some fantastic solutions to puzzles that I just kind of sat there and went, ooh? And then went and played Terraria.
Of course.
Bright colours.
Anyway, so what have you thought about 2013's year of indie offerings? Why don't you leave us a comment below so we can read them and then probably do nothing.
So, my game of the year. Well, obviously my first candidate, no-brainer there, is GTA 5. It's a huge open-world sandbox crime simulator, base jumping, aeroplane flying menagerie of a game. And normally that sounds like a massive clusterfuck, but they manage it. The characters are well-rounded, the story's fantastic, just everything about it has been given so much shine and polish that it works. I approached it with a great deal of skepticism for my review earlier in the year, but I've come out of it really I enjoyed the whole experience. The characters were fantastic, like I said. The setting, the variety of things you can do, it just really caught hold of me and really captured me. And for me, it's a great example of what the game industry can do right if given time. The game is frankly a spectacle in the best possible way. My second choice was BioShock Infinite, something for which I am undoubtedly going to be mocked, but I genuinely enjoyed it.
Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt.
BioShock Infinite is the third game in the BioShock franchise, and it takes the whole premise out of Rapture and puts it in the floating sky city of Columbia, which just sounds like a setting change, but there's a lot more to it than that. A lot of the core mechanics are still there, though. You've still got a gun in one hand and plasmids, or Vigors as they're now calling them, in the other. You're still dealing with overbearing issues such as discrimination, predominantly racism in this case. And for a lot of people, that's where the BioShockiness of it ends. But I think the game is still very, very solid on its own 2 feet. The characters are a little bit flat in places, but tremendously well-rounded in others. The storyline is really interesting, and most importantly, it's a really fun FPS shooter that I got a lot of enjoyment out of. I still think it's a valid Game of the Year. Well, last and most deservingly on my list, I think, is StarCraft II: Heart of the Swarm, which is arguably an expansion, arguably a complete separate game in its own right. And I choose to believe the latter, which is why I'm putting it on my list. Heart of the Swarm is a continuation of the StarCraft II saga, dealing with the Queen of Blades as she sort of reaffirms herself within the Zerg, and carrying on the story that's been going since way back in the first StarCraft many, many years ago. Personally, I love it to pieces, and I think it's justifiable as a Game of the Year because it is a game in its own right. The StarCraft II series was so large that they split it down from an original game. It's the best RTS I've ever played, the balancing is perfect, the multiplayer is amazing. I am firmly standing on this one for my Game of the Year candidate, and I don't care what Toby has to say about that.
So, unfortunately though, every year it can't just be happiness and roses, especially with companies like EA making games. There are sometimes games games where you're hyped. I mean, with EA games you're generally not hyped, but you know the games where you're really hyped for them and then
they turn out to be a crushing disappointment.
Much like your childhood.
Oh, God. That's the thing, okay? I wasn't disappointed because I wasn't aware that there was an alternative to the beatings.
Let's
Anyway,
put it down.
there have been some real disappointments this year, and I'm surprised, Rick, that you said that BioShock Infinite was anything but.
I actually really enjoyed it. I started.
Book a catch.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah, it got rid of all the pesky things in first-person shooters, like picking up ammo and like having to heal yourself.
But it's not a first-person shooter. If you're going to call it BioShock, then you need to make a shock game. Like as well, the fucking Columbia was garbage compared to Rapture.
I know, but the amount of blatant racism was quite shocking.
So your real issue with it is that there was no consistency, and you need that in a franchise.
My real issue with it was that they called it a BioShock game, and they lied to me.
Oh, so what you're saying is
It's
it's
an
not
actual
exactly
lie.
the same as the previous games, which is why
You're right.
you didn't like it. But you know what is exactly the same as the previous games?
Is it Mario?
No, it's Animal Crossing New Leaf,
Oh,
and that's why that disappointed me.
So
Okay.
Toby was disappointed when he played a game in a franchise and it wasn't the same as everything else, and you were disappointed when you play a game in a franchise and it was exactly the same as
Why
everything
waste
else.
my money? I could have just played the GameCube one.
To be fair, though, it's a Nintendo game, which means it's always going to be a pointless rehash.
Oh, didn't you buy a Wii U?
Yeah.
Something about pointless.
A little bit.
Oh, Rick, what about you? What
was your disappointment OT year?
My disappointment of the year was Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs. I got really excited about it. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to be great! It's the sequel to like the scariest game that's ever existed in the Worldiverse and all this." And
The Worldiverse.
And yeah, it was just a huge tacky pile of shit. Like, genuinely, there is no more depth I can go into because the game's quite shallow, and I can't go any deeper than the game lets you. But it's just like wading through shit.
So what has
It's
what has everyone's surprise of the year been? What has come out of left field and genuinely shocked you people?
Am I going? Are you going?
Every time I go, I get shushed. You go.
Okay, so for me, you guys are gonna kill me. I was really surprised by Forza 5. I got it. Wait. No speaking. So
No. Toby got to do this when I said a game. What I was really surprised about Forza 5 was that they fucking released it 55 quid for an unfinished disc. They didn't even bother rendering the rearview mirror. You can see the pixels in the sand. The skybox glitched out on me twice and left me driving into the black abyss of disappointment, which is, by the way, what I've named my Xbox One. It's an
So number one, if you buy it on the downloadable store, it was 45 quid. Number two, I got it free with my Xbox because the alternative was FIFA. And number three, you were basically playing it in the little look at our graphics mode where you're driving like in the car. And
you mean the game which they've pimped for being like the best graphics on a next gen console? Look how shiny this is. That's the
I really liked Rogue Legacy.
I really liked
it. Really surprised me. I wasn't expecting it.
I really liked Rogue Legacy.
Okay, thank you guys for fucking. What is wrong with you?
Rick, what surprised you?
How bad Forza was.
But
What game surprised you this year, Rick?
in a good way.
The Wolf Among Us. That's because I didn't know what to expect from it, actually.
It was a Telltale game and you didn't know what to expect from it.
I got more than I expected.
Wow. More
More
than you bargained for.
Genuinely, I
Worth
really
the wait.
enjoyed it. Actually,
But what you're saying is you pay, like this game,
for a game
you
that I
pay
went
full
into
price.
with
You paid full price. It didn't
Wait,
even render the rearview
No, you
mirror.
pay full price, but you don't get the entire game. It's like, oh, we're going to release it episodically, so you can have like one tenth of
FIFA.
you can have 1/10 of the game now, and then you can wait a bit, and then we'll
be
release
fair,
like another 10th.
The second that they patch that fucking rearview mirror on Forza, you'll get the full game
But
you
the
paid
thing
for.
is, like, if you pay for it now, they have no incentive to actually continue to make the game because you've given them
It's
money.
not fucking Minecraft. Jesus.
Seriously though, I went into The Wolf Among Us not really knowing what to expect, and I got a fantastic gaming experience out of it. I really enjoyed it.
Gaming experience.
For something that I sort of walked into with very little expectations, it really delivered.
You know what? 2013 has been the year of the experience, hasn't it? We don't make games anymore. We make cinematic experiences that bore plebs. So, kicking off my list of Game of the Year candidates is Rayman Legends, the previously exclusive Wii U platformer. Every now and then a game comes along which really changes the way that I look at a genre, and Rayman Legends does this beautifully, not only figuratively but also literally. It's like an oil painting that's come to life in a beautiful cartoonish style that UbiArt should really, really be proud of. It's a fast, frenetic platformer, but only in the meagre sense of the word, in that there is so much more to experience here than simple running, jumping, and hitting. It's a co-op game for you and your pals, or if you want to play it solo, there's so much to experience as well. I don't particularly understand Rayman Legends, but I don't think anyone could really claim to. The reason that I'm putting it forward for Game of the Year is the dazzling music levels, which are a concept that I haven't seen done so well since Guitar Hero, but they're done in a more friendly way that made me want to replay them over and over again. If these music levels could be a game of their own, I would buy it in a heartbeat, for another 40 quid. You hear that, Ubisoft? I'm willing to pay you £40. That's quite a lot of money. Next up on the list is Grand Theft Auto 5, and really the less said about it the better, because, let's face it, I don't really have to say anything. It's a Grand Theft Auto game. This Scottish beauty is nearly as nice as Fran, and a little bit less violent, really. It's about as close to a perfect game as you can get, from the narrative, which is a delicately woven story, and also a study of masculinity with three very different kinds of men. We've got Franklin, your up-and-coming go-getter in the world of criminality, Michael, a family man who just wants to go home and watch movies, and Trevor, a psychopath who exemplifies what it means to be a GTA protagonist. The reason that I'm going for this as my Game of the Year candidate is probably the online, as well as how much I love the interwoven, super awesome, complex narrative. There is nothing more fun than going out, leveling up your character, even if the character creation was a little bit janky. Also, I got $250,000 for Rockstar for all their fucking server issues, so I feel fan-fucking-tastic. GTA 5 is a game that makes you swear, but it does it elegantly, and is one of the reasons that I think it should probably be a Game of the Year. And finally on my list we have Cat Mario, the proverbial jewel in the Wii U's crown. It's an absolutely beautiful masterpiece, which isn't actually called Cat Mario, it's actually called Super Mario 3D World, but that's beside the point. Super Mario 3D World, as it's known commercially, isn't just the finest game of this year, in my opinion. It's the finest game of the decade, maybe even the millennium. I mean, I know it's early days yet, but if humanity can ever endeavour to create something this beautiful ever again, I will be genuinely surprised. For a Wii U game, it looks absolutely next-gen. Mario and his pals are rendered in loving, almost squishable glory, I've got action figures that don't quite look this good. It's a grab bag of all your previous Mario mechanics, from running and jumping to fire flowers and even the Tanuki suit, with a couple of new additions thrown in the form of the Cat Bell, Super Cat Bell and Double Cherry. There's also a few more secrets, but I don't really want to spoil it too much. You can now scamper up walls, and it's the first ever co-op 3D Mario game, which leads you into a truly epic experience to be enjoyed with your friends or solo. Whatever way you want to play, it's there, and it's so jam-packed full of content that it's a buffet of gorgeousness that will never run dry. So, those were my nominations for Game of the Year, and now we're moving on to Turd of the Year. Game companies have really made us suffer this year, and so, for the views and for you, who's watching already, we are going to ape Hot Pepper Gaming. What they do, of course, is they review games while chomping down on a habanero. We've got some habaneros, and well, we're going to explain what we thought the worst game of the year was.
Okay, so I guess I'm first. Ladies first?
Ladies first.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
This is such a bad...
This is...
My worst game of the year.
No, the milk is when you're done.
Yeah.
My worst game of the year, oh my god, was Sim City, or should I say Sim Shitty. Much like this experience that I'm currently undergoing, just because it was a complete fiasco from start to finish. First and foremost, I'm doing quite well. The release was a shambles in that you couldn't actually play it on release. They forced this always online thing, and they have terrible microtransactions. I'm like, oh god. You know what, that'll do. Sim Shitty, terrible game.
Okay, Rick, are you next, or is it me?
I'll follow that up.
Okay,
I think we both get to watch you. Right. I'm going to be talking about aliens, colonial latrines. You know what? It's real tasty.
It is until...
I can live with this.
Wow.
Aliens, colonial marines starts off like this pepper, because like the first level's really nice. And then it all just kind of goes to shit. And it kind of makes you want to vomit and die. It is the single most disappointing thing because it was built up for so long. And I hate it. I think graphically it's a disgrace. I think funneling all the money out of it was a terrible idea. Yeah, no, it's definitely, for me, Turd of the Year.
She's like,
Toby.
okay, can I have my milk, please? Are you fucking with me?
Thank you, Toby.
Okay. Right. I'm going to be talking about The Bureau, which I've already reviewed, so I don't really have to worry that much, right?
Oh my god, I'm so dead.
Here goes.
It doesn't go away.
No.
Right. The Bureau, XCOM Declassified, or XCOM... Yeah, it is The Bureau, XCOM Declassified, is a franchise-breaking piece of shit.
Continue.
It's not so bad till you swallow.
I know.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that is what she...
Review your game. This is
Anyway,
a terrible bit.
there is a reason that I gave this game a 1 out of 8. It's the lowest rating I've ever given a game. And as far as I'm concerned, the makers of the game should have kept it as vaporware. It was almost embarrassing quite how to... This is fine. This is literally fine.
Fuck you, Toby.
This is fucking hysteric.
So...
It's no longer fine. Okay. All in all, it's a broken game. It barely functions. Holy shit, it's beginning to heat up.
Yep.
If there were 3 words that I could use to describe this game, it would probably be piece of shit. Not even 3 adjectives. Holy shit. Okay, so what do you think the worst game of the year was?
This game.
This game.
Hot habanero chili eating game. We the Kilobits are the shit
Turd
of the year.
You know what, this is actually fine.
I'm gonna have this then.
Please do.
I'm a game freak, and if you don't think of Pokemon when you hear that, you've probably been living under a rock for the last decade and a half. 2013 marked the release of Pokemon's first 3DS offering and 6th iteration, X and Y. Having played Pokemon Red whilst just a wee bairn, X and Y have breathed fresh life into these games. It has the same adventurous feel of the old games. The mix of old and new generation Pokemon mesh together with the new features to provide a game that doesn't feel like a rehash of an old franchise. And as your Pokemon clings to life because it loves you so much, you don't want to stop playing. That's right, in this game, your Pokemon do better if they love you. There's an actual connection. Me and Mega Charizard are bros. Though to be honest, this game had me at Mega fucking Charizard. Charizard, but Mega. How could this not be the best game ever made? This game has such balls. Pokeballs. Platformers for me are an iconic genre of gaming. You have to get it spot on. There's a fine line. You need to make it challenging enough that it's fun, but not so difficult that you want to gouge your eyes out, such as Super Meat Boy. You need to continue to innovate new features into the game so it doesn't get stale, but make it long enough that it's not kind of a letdown to play. Rayman Legends gets this spot on. Leading on from Rayman Origins, Legends is a platforming masterpiece. Seriously, if you own a Wii U and you don't have this game, to the stores with you, cretin! The combination of music, gameplay and character meld together in a Ray-magnificent gaming experience. Where Origins fell down, Legends picks up and it just doesn't get stale. This game is designed for the Wii U, forget other platforms. With your buddy Murphy to help you on the way, it utilises the touchscreen seamlessly, implementing the features and making them fun. Actually fun, not some shitey tech demo. I could play this till my arms fall off. And it's multiplayer, so grab your friends. If you don't have any, grab people off the street for God's sake. You need to play this game. The Assassin's Creed franchise is interesting in that each game is almost like a new game because it changes location each time. Whilst you still have the mechanics of killing bad guys, each time you're in a very new setting. The Middle East, Italy, revolutionary America, and now the Caribbean? Do you like assassins? It's got 'em. Pirates? It's got 'em. Sea shanties for your crew to sing? I ask you this. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Yes, your crew sings to you, and they love you. They cheer for my pirate ass when I jump aboard the boat. And if you fancy doing something different, why not go harpoon some majestic sea beasts? Well, you can. And it provides that bittersweet feeling of pride and self-loathing as you haul its harpoon-peppered carcass aboard. He's a monster! It's these small touches that makes this iteration such an engaging, enigmatic, and enjoyable experience. For me, this is the best Assassin's Creed game to date, with all the booty, plunder, and murder you could ever want or need. So, as the presenting talent, those were our nominations. However, our producer also wanted to put forward some honourable mentions. We have GTA 5 yet again. He also mentioned XCOM Enemy Within,
which is fucking gorge.
And last but not least, Tomb Raider,
which is also fucking gorge. I can't believe that was written by Rhianna Pratchett.
I did not know that.
Stop that.
Sorry.
Thank you. Is it Game of the Year worthy?
No. It's a really good game, but I don't think it's Game of the Year.
Like, and XCOM we can't pick because
it's easy.
It's an expansion pack.
You know Heart of the Swarm.
If it had been a sequel, that would have been fine.
Oh yeah, expansion. Sorry, but you know what else is an expansion? Heart of the Swarm. So we can't pick that
no,
either. So that is not Game of the Year.
Legitimately, it's a completely different.
And you think GTA
You're completely fucking wrong. And if it's not Cat Mario that comes out of your mouths next, you're both plebs. I'm not gonna lie.
So when we say Cat Mario, Super Mario
3D World as my Game of the Year 2013. Nothing.
Oh fuck.
What?
I can't argue with that.
No, it's really fucking good.
No, I did spend the game every time I was a cat just being like meow.
Yeah.
Like
alright.
So often. So yeah, Cat Mario, Game of the Year 2013.
Cat Mario, well done Nintendo, you've done it again.
For the first time.
Well, they didn't do it last year.
I know they didn't do it last year. I was just talking in general.
But moving on from winners of Game of the Year to winners of our competition that we had last month to win we had 3 Contrast keys to give away.
We did.
And we each picked a winner. The question was, which indie game would you revamp and re-release or update for next gen? My winner is iPhone 30,000, whose name I really detest, but he did suggest, or she suggested Psychonauts, and if any game needs kind of some graphic cool updating, that is a good one to pick because it's such an old game.
It's also fucking fantastic. Like, it still looks and plays really well now, but I can see it on a next gen console. My winner, and I'm gonna get out a fucking piece of paper to tell me because I cannot remember this obtuse series of characters, is Alhurin Talan 2017, who said Shadow Complex, which I completely agree with. I love the...
Or her name. Athruntalan.
Athruntalan 2072. So congratulations, I completely agree.
Whereas I went for Videosource, which is much easier to pronounce and much less obnoxious, who went for Dwarf Fortress, which I think is I think that's fantastic. If any game, like, Not so much graphically updated as needs graphics.
Yeah.
But think about it. You got Kinect, and you've got like all these touchscreeny things coming out. You could make it work really well.
You could make it. You could feasibly make it work, and I would love to see it like as an experience.
It won't, but you know,
no, it never will.
The theory is sound.
Yeah,
so congratulations to you three. You've won yourself Contrast on Steam. Moving on from there, we have a whole smorgasbord of prizes to give away this month.
Yeah, 6 lucky runners-up will each win themselves a copy of BioShock Infinite for the PC. Third prize this month is a PC copy of BioShock and Tomb Raider The Survival Edition on Xbox 360. Second prize is BioShock on PC, Tomb Raider and Rayman Legends on the Xbox, and a copy of StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. And finally, our grand prize in what has to be our biggest competition ever, one lucky winner will receive BioShock Infinite on PC, Tomb Raider on the Xbox 360, Rayman Legends on the 360, the collector's edition of the Heart of the Swarm, some Mario goodies, and not 1, not 2, but 3 sets of gorgeous gaming prints from the girls at Game Tea. And to be in with a chance of winning, all you have to do is answer this question. If 2013 was the year of Luigi, what should 2014 be, and why? Get creative on this one. We are after the funniest and smartest ideas you can come up with. Leave your answer in the comments section below. The competition closes on 31st of December at 3 PM GMT and is only open to UK residents. Sorry, we just can't afford the international postage on this one.
So that's it for 2013. What a year, hey? What a year!
It's been a good year.
It has been a good year, but next year's shaping up to be pretty good. I mean, it may as well finish in March. I mean, we've got the releases of Titanfall and Watch Dogs,
Definitely.
and then of course there's fucking Dark Souls.
So we've been the Kilobits. If you like the video, give us a like. You can also comment and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Kilobits.
And we're on Twitter at The Kilobits.
It's the end of the year, isn't it?
It is the end of the year, so I'm going to take out the fucking trash. Rick, you're fired.
I've been Fran.
I'm Toby.
I was Rick for a little while.
Fuck off! Fucking amateurs.
Amateurs, yeah.